So today, really, if you haven't been here before, our seminar that we did last month, each month we're doing a hot topic seminar. And each month we're kind of diving into a specific topic, something that's really spoken about a lot during the consultations, during the follow-ups with the nutritionist. So last month we were kind of prepping everybody for the holidays, but the holidays had not come yet because this can be a tough time for a lot of people. So now that we're kind of in the thick of it, we passed Thanksgiving, we have all the rest of the holidays coming up. So I just want to check in with everybody, kind of refocus and make sure everybody's getting through it okay and focus on what's to come for 2020 as well.
Yes.
So.
Anybody use any of the tips for Thanksgiving at all, or?
Yeah, okay. Or the recipes, we had a lot of really good recipes too. That, what do you have, pumpkin fluff, bro?
Oh, I did.
Pumpkin
I
fluff.
can't even tell you. I did anything pumpkin. I just ate pumpkin right out of the can.
And for those,
gnawing on a pumpkin,
yeah.
Put brine
For those who are new, we are pretty interactive with you guys, so feel free to raise your hand, ask questions at any time as we're going through this, okay?
Yeah, and I'd say probably all the seminars we've been doing lately, this is the most interactive one.
Yes.
So seriously, just stop and scream if you need something.
I scream.
Remember, you're on camera. Just as a fair warning.
So,
subject to YouTube videos.
So these are the common things that we're seeing during the holidays that are spoken with the nutritionists, that are spoken with me and Randy. For those who don't know, me and Randy are the owners, so welcome for the new ones.
Supposedly.
I forgot to actually introduce ourselves, supposedly. So these are things that people are saying is they're going to events and people who aren't on a plan are making comments like, hey, why are you eating that way? Why are you doing that? It's making people feel uncomfortable when they're at a social setting. Co-workers, go ahead.
Yeah, talking about that first, I was actually, we did a seminar the last week at the training room in Madison, and I was talking to a guy who was vegan, neither here nor there, but about it, everyone's always like, well, let's figure out the party, why aren't you eating meat? Why aren't you doing this? I'm like, I'm just doing my thing, man. I go, it's poor etiquette to ask someone why they're not drinking. They may be an alcoholic, maybe that. But on a diet, which is not the same, but it's still something a lot of people struggle with, you're right, it actually is something, it's additional. Yeah, I take that back, you're 100% right.
Yeah.
People kind of they feel like they have a lot more right to be up in your business with it. So you get a lot of different things that you wouldn't get for other things.
100%. Co-workers are bringing in a lot of snacks. So we were talking about before with teachers or in the break room, like you think you're doing good and all of a sudden like a plate of cookies come in and you're like, oh my God, I'm being so tempted right now, right?
Bring your own cookies.
Right, bring your own cookies. I love Rose's answer on that one. People are stressed that they're either forgetting to eat or they're mindlessly eating so much. People are punishing themselves because they aren't perfect during the holidays. So honestly, during the holidays, what we always say with people is maintenance in itself is a win. So if you're not perfect, perfect is the enemy of good, and it's okay.
Yeah, and on that, it doesn't mean that the goal should be maintenance. It's kind of like the under-promise, over-deliver thing. If you set yourself up going, hey, I'm just gonna try and maintain it for the holidays, wonderful. And if you move ahead and do any better, great. But if you sit there and go, I'm gonna lose all my weight during the hardest time of the year, maybe it'll happen, but it might not, so don't beat yourself up either.
Yes.
Realistic expectations can go a long way.
Yes, definitely. Overeating and restricting. People are splurging at a party and then the next day saying, I'm just not gonna eat all day, and then they make it till 5 p.m. and they go on like some sort of raging binger. So don't restrict yourself. If you had a bad day or a slip up, you just get back on track. No need to restrict. And what we always tell people when they're facing these challenges to constantly remind yourself of what is your why, which is what we spoke about at our first hot topic seminar is when you're trying to find motivation, what is your why? Everybody says, I wanna lose weight, I wanna gain weight, I wanna do this, but why? There's always a more deep-seated reasoning to it, and that's sometimes you have to just take a step back and remember what your why is. Do you have something to add?
No, you've got that one good.
And I always said, maintenance is a win. So for those who can't see, these are really more for me and Randy to like stay on track. So I read those because we can bounce all over the place. So we spoke to the nutritionists and we also reached out online asking people what are common questions that you have this time of the year. And honestly, the answer to these questions can be, they're good all year round. So questions. What do I do if I slip up and indulge in too many Christmas cookies, which is a very specific one. So, and these are straight from our Rev community. So Christmas cookies, it could be a trigger food for some. For some, they can have one, track it, and be fine. If you slip up, stop while you're ahead. I always like to use that analogy. If you have a flat tire, don't slash the other three, right? So if you indulged a little bit, chill, do the Michelle method. Sometimes if there's a trigger food or if you're craving something, I'll actually brush my teeth and kick back some mouthwash afterwards, and it really does help me fight that want to keep having that flavor. What is it? Chew ice. Do the ice. Just to keep biting gum helps also. Randy can't do the ice.
That'll get me out of the room. If
Yeah.
you're doing ice, don't worry about me.
It's like melting chocolate for Randy. So,
Yeah.
so that's what we always say, is just stop while you're ahead and move on. Again, don't restrict yourself afterwards. How should my mindset be going into the upcoming holiday week? Positive. There you go.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be scary. It shouldn't be like, oh my God, I'm just gonna like cave in and not do it. It should be positive, and it's a week like any other week. There might just be a few more events that you're gonna choose to indulge in, and events that you're gonna say, it's not really worth it, I can track and be more mindful. And when you indulge, don't think of it as a splurge, like you're gonna go on a binge of some sort. It's not all or nothing, and food will always be available to you after the event as well. So, Randy, you have something to say?
And kind of on that note, also don't restrict either. If you're going to your grandmother, she makes these once-in-a-lifetime cornbread muffins that you love. Have them. You're not. It's not something you're gonna have every day. Get on it. You know, hey, I had a little too much today. Don't beat yourself up. Also, don't weigh yourself in the morning and get back on track.
Do not weigh yourself in the morning. Do not. You will not be happy at all. But it's normal. So we also talked about at our previous seminars about the weight fluctuations on the scale. Yes, your weight is going to fluctuate. You're going to have water fluctuations. You're going to have food still in your digestive tract. All those things, sodium, all of those things can affect the weight you're going to see on the scale. And my famous liner I always say is, your weight on the scale is your relationship with gravity. And that is all it is. It doesn't know what you're composed of. So just remember that next time you step on a scale, and don't freak out. And if you do freak out, just hit up your nutritionist or somebody. We'll calm you down.
And the good thing too is if you've been consistent with your macros for a relatively decent amount of time, especially if you're in a cutting phase where you've been on lower calories in general, sometimes just the week with those two unplanned refeeds, basically with the holidays, could end up boosting your metabolism, even helping things. But we're going to tell people the past couple weeks who have been on hard diets for prep and before getting ready for bodybuilding prep season, with getting the big jump in calories, and I believe everybody either maintained or lost weight.
Yeah. We're like staring right at you.
So I was like, you're gonna get me, I'm gonna yell. Today I was like, I'm the same weight.
Yeah, and I
Really cool.
yeah, and we raised like a decent amount. It was a significant jump.
Almost double.
Yeah. So for sometimes, if you've been really good for a long time, a week of not overeating, but eating a little higher than normal can do wonders for your metabolism. So there are benefits too to having these little events.
Definitely. Should I track on the holiday? So this is totally different person to person. Some people on the holiday, like I always say, relax, like enjoy yourself. Don't be stressing, don't be sitting there on your tracker, just relax. The stress and the increase in the cortisol levels are just gonna do you even worse. And if you have multiple holidays or several days of it, pick and choose your spots. Maybe there's one day you wanna relax and another day you just wanna eat. You wanna track, another day you just wanna eat kind of mindfully or intuitively. So there's different tactics, and I highly advise talking to your nutritionist about these different tactics, because each one is good for each person in a different way.
And it's kind of a big decision everyone has to make. If you're, getting ready for bodybuilding season and we're about to start cutting weight, maybe every one of these shouldn't be a crazy wild cheat day. If we've been dieting for a decent amount of time, things are good, we're in a maintenance phase, and you want to have a day, enjoy yourself. But if you've been kicking butt for like 3 months and you're about to go to the beach 2 weeks after the holidays, maybe it's worth tracking because you don't want to screw that up right before that. So it's really a very individualized answer, and basically it's what's really important to you and how close are we to the target date.
Yeah, and if there's an emergency and you can't get in touch with your nutritionist, I just want you to know you can reach out to us, because I'm very interactive online, or you can reach out to my email at any time if you're having like a moment. We got you.
Me too.
Stand by.
Randy's like, I'm there as backup if Michelle doesn't respond, so.
You got numbers questions? I'm here all day.
Randy's like the goblin in the back.
That's why my text involves both of them on a chat.
Yeah,
Who's gonna answer?
we're both in the chat. But Randy, actually, if you don't know Randy, he is the numbers guy. So all the program design that we do here at RevolutioniZe, is Randy's. So no matter what nutritionist that you're working with, me and Randy have eyes on you, whether you know it or not. We know your stats, we know your obstacles, your accomplishments. We're tweaking numbers with the girls. So yeah, so watch it.
Yeah, I always kid around. If you're someone who works with me, I go, if I'm talking a lot to you, that means things can't be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're gonna, well, I'll go for this. So if I'm talking to you a lot about nutrition, it's not good. Usually you just want a thumbs up.
I'm good. I'm ready to go. So should I work out more because of my holiday cheat meal?
So
How do
again,
you wanna answer this?
I'm gonna answer it two ways. In terms of reward and punishment, never, ever, ever, ever. But if you're going and sitting there planning and saying, you know what, I've been meaning to go run a 5K, I'm gonna go plan this around this high caloric event. Wonderful, you're using it as, you know, something good and something good. But what you don't wanna do is have the holiday and then be crying as you're walking into the gym the next morning doing 8 hours of cardio without eating.
Yes.
So there's kind of an in-between where I can say, yes, use those extra calories, go get a kick-ass workout. A lot of the gyms always have, especially local gyms, they do all the like holiday group classes where I have all this fun stuff. You know, go hit one of those, go hit 2 of those. But try not to do anything that feels like a punishment. Try to do a more funny, fitness-related thing or like that.
Yeah, or one day. We had somebody last week, they overindulged 2 days in a row, and I said, go PR. Go to the gym and try to squat more or deadlift more than you normally would to make it a positive and not a punishment. And next thing I know, I get a text message from them saying, I just hit my new personal record on a squat, and I was like, that's freaking awesome. So they utilized that extra energy and spun it into a positive.
You want that funny compliment, I'll tell her.
Oh, right now?
Yes, don't forget it.
And then other people are saying, if I should take this week off, is it going to ruin my progress?
Wish that.
It is not.
Wish that.
I can't tell you. That's top secret for that.
So, yes, if you take the week off, it's not gonna ruin your
That's
progress.
the dance.
You guys, if you've been training or dieting or following a nutrition plan for X amount of weeks, X amount of months, if you have 1 week that you're just kind of relaxing, eating intuitively, it's not gonna hurt you. Would I suggest hopping on a scale immediately? No, because things could be kind of funny, but you're allowed to relax and it's not gonna completely destroy you.
Yes.
Anything to add to that one?
No, just like you were saying, focus on everything in the large macro sense. Just like, I'm so funny.
You're so witty.
If you've been good for 6 months and we have 2 bad days on a holiday, it's not, yeah. Just get right back on track. Just don't let the 2 days turn into
2 weeks.
maybe 2 weeks,
Yes,
yeah, and
yes.
let it bring back maybe some bad habits you had under control. If let's say I'm trying to pick Malamars, that's kind of a thing that's not always around. So let's say you're at your family's somebody brings over 3 boxes of Malamars and leave them there, and you're like, oh man, I haven't even
Gotta
thought of
finish
them.
them.
Exactly. I haven't thought about them. I'm not gonna have them again. That's where it can get into trouble. If you get in a situation like that, give it away, give it to somebody else, hide it. If you end up getting holiday stuff that's gonna be a trigger, try and get it out of your house after the holiday if you can. I am welcome for donations.
And some people were asking, I do want to track on the holiday. Do you have any advice? Oh my God, I have so much advice. I don't really know where to start with this. So when it comes to your proteins, try to find the leaner cut of proteins. So chicken breast, turkey breast, I don't know, pork loins, whatever you guys like to eat. Lean cuts of meat. I always like to eat my protein source on my plate first, so it fills me up, and I know that I hit my protein for the day because that is super important. And then I'll kind of like have my sides as needed. For some people, like myself, I actually don't really prefer sides. I prefer desserts. So I like to save my fats and carbs for desserts. Not everybody's like that. They can do without the desserts. For cocktail hour, I'll go towards like the shrimp cocktail, nice high protein. Bless you. You know, the veggie platters, and stay away from like the heavy, like all the heavy appetizers.
Yeah, so anything obviously fried, super breaded, crazy oily. If you don't really go on it, not thing you need to choose. You know, if there's maybe some antipasto versus trying to get the stuffing. I don't know why you have stuffing for appetizers. But go get a thing of meat and cheese is still going to be better than an oil fried bomb. So.
Yeah, for desserts, I actually like to bring my own desserts, so I don't go into like the ice creams and the pies and stuff like that. So I'll do, a lot of people in here know my little things, but I'll either do cottage cheese with a scoop of protein powder, so it's like cheesecake, You can add a little stevia to it if you want to sweeten it up a little bit more, or you can do the same thing with Greek yogurt and a scoop of protein powder. However, the protein powder will thicken it up a little bit, so you might have to add a tiny bit of water to thin it back out. You can even make huge trays of that. There's some cinnamon in it, berries, Cool Whip or fat-free whipped cream, and have a big tray of dessert for everybody to make like a Greek yogurt parfait or something like that.
Yeah, and if you're just looking for one macro to, I say, which one is the easiest to watch out for, watch the fats, because those are gonna rack up anyway. So if you have to pick a choice and you're like, all right, they're all terrible choices, which do I pick? Pick a carb choice.
Yeah, I gotta say, everybody thinks the carbs are the biggest issue. People are actually usually within or close to their carb ranges. It's the fats that get super out of control from the oils and the butters and whatnot.
Yeah, so it's gonna take you a while to reach calorically in carbs, what would be enough to really cause some damage. And damage is relative, but you know what I mean? Whereas fats, you can go 2,000 to 3,000 calories over and now you can feel it. So if you're gonna be eating, you should feel crazy stuffed.
Definitely. Should I skip meals before the holiday party?
No.
Don't. You're gonna be starving, you're gonna be ravenous by the time you get to the event, and you're gonna probably go for the first thing that's out, which is probably not the best thing. Wake up in the morning, have your eggs and your toast or your oatmeal or your protein, whatever you normally have. Have your lunch, have your snacks. That way, by the time you get to the event, you're not ravenous. What I do before I go to an event is I actually eat right before I go, something that's nice and high in protein. So when I get there, I can actually chill out on the appetizers and I wait for the meal to come. Personal preference, but different person.
Yeah, and if there's anything that you're gonna change diet-wise on the day of an event, I'd say up your water intake. Just try and keep you full, keep you busy. That's what it is.
Keep you busy, exactly. How do I deal with a person pressuring me? So pressuring.
Just say no.
Just say no.
That'll
Yeah. Spray him down. Yeah, so that's always a tough one, and we hear it so often. You just have to stand your ground on it and be like, nah, I'm good. Or what some people do, their tactic is they fake it. So if it's alcohol, they'll just have a cup of club soda and like lime in it. And people are like, oh my God, what's that? It's club soda and vodka. Some of them are so drunk that if they taste it, they'll think there's alcohol in it anyway. It's happened. I'd be at a party, they're like, yo, let me taste your drink. And I give it to them, it's just club soda. They're like, yo, this is so strong.
And if you have someone super pushy, you go, yeah, sure, make me a drink, and you just hold it all night.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just like a habitual thing. Sometimes it's a safety net for a lot of people to just kind of hold something. So if you're holding something that's non-alcoholic, or if you have like a wine, make it a spritzer, add some club soda to it to dilute it, to keep you hydrated and to reduce calories.
Yeah, like I know for me, Mr. Anxiety and social interaction, nut job. If I'm holding something, I'm just going to nervously inhale it, whatever it is. So whether it's wine, beer, lard, I'll eat it. So, if I'm holding a diet soda or a water or something a little better, I'm going to drink that too. It's not a matter of whether I want it or not, just kind of nervous tics.
Yeah, and a lot of people have them. A lot of
Tie
people
you
do.
down.
Yeah. Feed him lard.
I might like it.
It's gonna have like drool in there.
I'll take pictures, post it on the internet.
Randy at his best.
Definitely. I have, kind of what I said before, I have multiple holiday events this week. What should I do? For me, I pick what's worth it. What do I want to kind of let my hair down and relax? And others, I am very mindful. If you can choose my spots, you can track, or if you've been tracking for a long time and you kind of at this point would know what's in food, you know what to gravitate to, so kind of call it intuitive eating, so you're not sitting there on your app. You can handle that for a second day out of the week during the holidays, it's okay.
Yeah, and as well, kind of not terribly on topic, but if you're at an event and not in the mood to go look up 10 million things on the internet to find out what it is, put in the closest, worst comparable option you can find. So let's say someone made chicken parm, find an Applebee's or an Olive Garden chicken parm, which is absurdly worse.
Yeah, they're absurd.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then when you get home, you can fix it and adjust it later.
Calories.
But it'll just give you something to put in. So don't worry about just being perfect with the tracker if you're gonna track. Just track your best and then adjust it later.
And any restaurant you go to, they will accommodate you.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Now that's,
I mean, listen,
Yeah.
if there's a choice of a fish or chicken, they'll make it any way you want, any vegetable you want. It's a matter of asking.
It's all you
yeah,
gotta do is
I
ask.
think it was when you were talking last week. Yeah, specifically, that's exactly what you said. It's the truth. So,
Allergies and everything.
yeah.
They'll make it. I can walk out with a meal as if I made it from home.
Yes, the truth. Even in the last 5 to 10 years, restaurants become so, like I said, half health conscious, half lawsuit conscious.
Yeah.
So they're really on
True.
top of it. If you tell them, ask them or something, they're probably going to do it. And honestly, chains will do it almost 10 out of 10 times. Mom and pops, 9 out of 10. But it's usually never an issue. You know, are they going to give you the special of the day custom made? Maybe not. But normal meal items are generally able to play with.
Yeah, and if the person you're going with at the restaurant gives you a hard time, just tell them to shut up.
Or her.
Tell them. Let's call How can I stay on track if I am busy every day? So this, again, we're talking about that like 80-20 rule that you guys hear about. You do not have to be perfect. So there's a few suggestions here. The more prepped meals you have, the better off you're gonna be. If you have meals prepped in your refrigerator, if you're on the road, pack a freaking cooler, stack it up. I have to travel a lot, so I know how that feels. Actually, side note, hot topic for next month, we're gonna actually talk about what to get when you're on the road. So like a lot of popular road places and good menu
I'm
items.
actually pretty pumped for that. So I'm gonna teach you how to do things there, but I'm ideally gonna break down 3 to 5 items from each menu and go, here, just get these, they'll probably be good for you.
Yeah, we work with a lot of people who work on the road, so it's gonna be actually a really good one. And then in addition, we do work with Eat Clean Bro. So they do prep meals that delivered right to your front door. You order online. We have a promo link, actually. It's eatcleanbro.com/rev. If you use that link, it'll automatically apply a discount to your checkout. Super, super convenient. I use it every week. They have bulk food items as well, where you get a pound of chicken, a pound of shrimp, a pound of broccoli, right? So it's easy, and I don't have to cook any food, which is awesome.
Yeah,
So.
I've got to really give them the bulk
Yeah.
menu is awesome.
That's my
Especially
favorite,
if
the
it's
bulk,
if you're on the run for a day. Yeah, you might take one of the meals, but you'd be like, all right, I'm done with the meat in it. Now I just got asparagus left, and I'm not in the mood for asparagus. But if you bring the way they bring it to it usually comes in like 1 or 2 pound tubs of each meat. And side dish, so you bring your chicken with you, you bring your shrimp with you, you bring your asparagus with you, and you just kind of nibble at them. But you have them there.
Exactly. And how do I stay motivated? This goes back to our first seminar that we did, which was completely revolved around motivation. It was setting realistic expectations, setting small goals that will, inevitably lead to that long-term goal that you have. And yeah, did you have anything to add to that one?
Since I am Mr. Motivational, I guess this is my time.
Randy is Mr. Motivation.
I didn't think I was going to talk about this. So usually motivation sucks. I always say motivation is a terrible way to get stuff done because you can't depend on it. Your mood's so affected by it. What's going on in your life? What song you're listening to? Listen, when your motivation's great, yeah, utilize it. It's awesome. The rest of the time, it's going to be discipline. I always kid around. I'm a huge Patriots fan. Everyone's like, "Oh, I pay for the Patriots. They just ask me to do what I'm supposed to do." I go, "That's crazy, right?" When you kind of set that lifestyle for yourself, of just do your job, just do what you're supposed to do. When things are not good, you can take pride in your discipline. So it's tough where you kind of have it's a backwards challenge. Everyone usually challenges themselves to be more intense, to be perfect. I go, challenge yourself to be consistent. I go, nobody can be consistent. Everybody can be intense. So kind of refocus your motivation goals, and sometimes that can help you get through.
It's all discipline. We got to bring back that special. We did a specialty group of shirts, and it was motivation, just do your job, and it ended up being our biggest seller. I was at the airport, and this lovely couple was like, "Oh, where'd you get that?" And I'm like, "It says across the back," and I'm like, "Thanks."
Yeah, my brother almost lost his teaching job wearing it.
Yeah, his brother almost lost his teaching job. It's a great shirt, though. Really great shirt. No shame. So what I want to do, just take a brief moment before we go into the next category. What questions do you guys have that has come up so far during the holidays, or moving forward into the holidays?
Or just something in general that now's a good time to talk about.
Yeah.
Or not a good time.
Seriously, we're super friendly. It's cool. You don't have to be nervous or anything. We're cool.
I'm not.
So everybody's just kind of processing.
Listen, I just bring my food wherever I go.
Yeah, you do.
That's really the bottom line.
Yeah. Rose super goal driven.
I don't
No
care what
one
anybody
is standing
says.
in this girl's way.
I
She's
don't
a
care what anybody
bulldozer.
says.
And you know what's
I bring my food.
I
Yeah.
tend to always give you a lot of compliments about when you cover, but one of her best qualities, she might be super intense and super goal driven and really almost perfect in her tracking, but she does not make a big thing of it either.
No.
And that's one of the things that help people go, well, she makes it so easy. She goes, no, just let them talk about it.
The Mexican restaurant that's by your old place?
Yes.
I was in the other night with my packed food.
That's awesome.
And my water jug.
But no one gives you
I
crap.
said-
They're like, this is just what Ro does.
I was there with my family. It was my sister's birthday. He goes, "What can I get?" I go, "I have my food." You know what I tell them? I tell them I have food allergies.
Yeah.
That's really what I do when I go
Yep.
to restaurants. I say, "Listen, I have
No one will give you
food
crap.
allergies. I bring my own food. All I
fine.
need is water and lemon,
Yeah.
and they're fine. They leave me alone, and I
Yep.
literally bring my own food."
Yep, exactly, and it works. It works. Rose another one that's very active on social media. So we're active on social media. If you ever follow us, we're always posting like recipe ideas, tips, tricks, transformations, and whatnot. Ro's another one that's super active, so feel free to follow.
If you're really not a cardio person, she'll commiserate with you.
Yeah.
Those posts are my favorite.
They're so good.
All your like anti-cardio.
Oh,
No.
I can't stand it. You should be there at 5 a.m. to hear me.
And then your headphones didn't work yesterday? No, you
The
got
what?
your headphones yesterday.
I had no headphones. This
Oh,
is my
yes.
workout. After my
Yes.
cardio,
Yeah.
I left them. I have like the back of my car has multiple bags for like different things. And I'm like, and it was pouring. It was raining like really heavy. And I'm bitching in the gym. They're like, oh, you should have a backup plan. I said, listen, you see that pickup truck down there in the park? That's where they are. I said, I don't want to go from here and there to get them. I was bitching.
I love it.
Bitching. And then everybody starts talking to me, and I don't want to talk to you.
No, it's fine.
Leave me alone.
Tell them you're sick.
Yeah, exactly. Just have people out.
No, the thing is, I bounce around like all smiley and happy. Everybody's like coming up to me to talk.
Because you're very inviting, yeah.
Oh.
Gotta put a stamp on your
I
head, do
gotta
not
be
talk to.
Do not talk. You need the shirt, like, in training, don't talk. Yeah, we can make
Make
those
one
too.
up.
We can make those
Yeah.
too. Taking suggestions for our next
Prep
batch
mode.
of specialty t-shirts, by
We
the
need
way.
prep shirts.
Yeah, we
do
can
actually.
She can write, I have people allergies.
That's a good one.
Yo, Air
That's
high
a
five on that
tattoo
one. That was
I got
good.
tattooed on my back.
I like that one. Keep that one in the bank. Randy will wear that every day.
There's a meme that says, I have nut allergies, take a step back.
Say, oh,
Yeah, I like that.
That's funny. I'm into it. I love these.
Oh.
So, really
Let's-
recapping, getting through the holidays. Plan ahead, whatever you have coming up.
And
Yeah, go
expect
for
your
it.
plans to fall through too.
Yeah, plan for nothing to go according to plan. Seriously, like that is my go-to
And
line.
if your holiday party, let's say, happens to be at a restaurant, if I happen to go, like tomorrow night, we're going out,
Yeah.
I actually go to the menu online,
Yes.
and I can already,
Yep.
if whatever the meal is, I can say, all right, I want the fish from that meal, which I'll get broiled, and then I'll take the asparagus off the side, and I'll clock it in, and that way I know the day before what my meal's gonna be there,
Mhm.
and then the rest of my meals through the day, I can still have, but I already know what I'm gonna eat there.
Gotta
And
watch
when
out,
I
Nicole's
walk
gonna
in-
peer pressure you.
No, I know, she whispered in my ear. She whispered in my ear.
I saw it.
And that'll be one of the better methods. If you can get a menu anywhere ahead of time, if you know how to look through it and pick things, awesome. But if you need help too, I'm more than happy if you shoot over a menu to any of us, like at least, the day before would be nice.
Yeah,
Not
not
like
like
for the table.
in case we're not in the office.
But really, it's not a big deal. The more time you have to prep, just like Rose said, it's not that you can just find what you're eating for dinner, it's that you can make it fit into your whole day.
Right.
So you can be a little worse, because you go, ooh, I know I want this, I'm gonna have fun with it, so I'll lighten up on lunch or something.
Right.
We were saying picking and choosing your spots before, so what's worth it to you and what's not. So just take a step back and think, kind of browse out the table, okay, I want that, that's not worth it. So kind of,
Think
take a
about
step
it.
back, think about
Yeah,
it.
I try to, and it's always hard, but try to differentiate between bored eating, real eating,
Thirst.
yeah. So take, like I said, just take a second. It's not the easiest time of the year to do it, but if you can stop 1,000 extra calories, cool. Yeah.
Get your workouts in, seriously. It helps so much. Carve out some time first thing in the morning before the day gets crazy. Go to the gym, even if you're not feeling like super motivated and like in the zone. Like there's days that I go to the gym, it happens often, that I'm not like, yo, I'm gonna shit up and kick some butt. Like sometimes I just have to go and get my job done.
More often than
you
not,
know?
it's rolling out of bed. What are you going to train, Michelle?
I literally roll out and I sometimes go to the gym in my pajamas sometimes. Who cares?
I
don't
know, like,
care.
you hate me? She's like, no, it's
No,
morning.
she's
I'm
fine. I'm at the gym, next thing you know, I'm squatting, and then a half hour goes by, and I'm like, I'm done, all right. So.
And I also find too that for some people, especially if you're hosting or doing a lot, or on the holidays, a lot of people can expect a lot from people. So if you can carve out just a little bit of workout time on the same day as an event, it can go a long way for your mental sanity. Being like, all right, I got an hour of me time. Now let me deal with this.
Yep, absolutely. Drink your water. You mentioned that before. Stay hydrated. Hey,
Yeah.
timing.
Ideally, stay hydrated with water.
Yeah. Yeah. Drink your water. Stay hydrated. It's gonna help with. Helps with everything really. To be honest, staying full, metabolism, the whole bit.
Seltzer too. If you're not a water person,
I'm
the
a
seltzer,
seltzer
the
fanatic.
carbonation can fill you up even more.
Yeah, seltzer fanatic. Have, again, realistic expectations for events. If you know you're going to an event and you're like I'm not gonna be perfect, like, it's okay. Just, like I said before, eat mindfully, just don't go on like a crazy binge of any sort.
Yeah, and that's it too, kind of, especially if it's something you really want to be good, but you also want to indulge and kind of split. Pick one part of it you want to indulge on. If you're going to a company event, you're like, man, they always have the best dessert table. All right, so don't go nuts at the other tables early if they're not that good and they're just there. If everything's good and you want everything, you know, we have nights. But if you can pick your spots,
It happens.
but if there's a situation you can pick.
Yes, and then get plenty of rest. This is apparently a really hard one for everybody. Get your rest.
Yeah, let Santa do it. Santa's delivering the presents. You don't gotta worry about it.
Yeah, you guys don't have to worry about that. The
We'll
tips
stop there.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
This is for
detail.
me. Getting back on track. Realize that it was just one day. That's it. It's just one day. The next day you wake up refreshed, you feel good. Again, don't restrict. Just go right back to your plan as usual.
Or flip side, if you wake up the next day and you feel like crap, try not to let it
Go into a
Yeah,
second day or third day.
and especially if the next day you wake up and it's a mental health disaster due to what happened, focus on just getting back into your routine. Focus on your routine, not your motivation, not what's happy or sad. And it may get you out of it, but worst case scenario, you'll still get the things done, so the next day you don't feel sad about not getting those things done. Could help, might not, but let's try it.
Yeah, and even if it just, you had a shitty week, it just went to the whole week. It was 7 days out of 365 days of the year. It's really not that bad when you think about it that way. So, getting right back on track, don't restrict, we just said that. It will lead to binges and an unhealthy relationship with food, a nasty yo-yo cycle that you're gonna just keep going through. And if that's something that you're trying to fight, because everybody in here has different battles, different obstacles that they're facing, if you have been in that binge restrict phase before, we really want to kick that habit and not have that continue.
Yeah, and the more you manipulate your calories between very high and very low, very high, very low, your metabolism gets beat the heck up. So you're more likely to have those huge rebounds after a couple days of eating. Whereas someone who may just be consistent year round and still have those highs, you'll be better off than having the highs and the lows. So it sounds counterintuitive, but your baseline is what's going to help you get back to normal better than restricting.
It's important to identify why you do what you do.
Well, that's it too.
Like,
Yeah.
I know I'm an emotional eater.
Right?
Yes.
If I'm upset, I'm craving something.
Yep,
Yeah.
a lot of us are, a lot of
You
us
know,
are emotional
you know,
eaters.
some people it's stress, some people it's peer pressure. I mean, you really, I just
Yeah.
know that that's my
Yeah,
point.
And that's a great point. So that's it's kind of hard to be that self-aware, but some of us can be. And if you can kind of figure out what exactly is triggering you on the emotional spectrum, let's say, like I said, stress,
Personal life,
personal
I know.
see if there's anything else you can do to address that problem besides eating.
Right.
You know, that's a lot of foresight. That's a lot of thought to be going on when we're in the middle of an episode, possibly.
It's something to practice, it's something that takes time to
But
practice.
if you can
yeah.
just stop one item and get a little bit of control back, maybe it can help.
Baby steps,
Yeah.
remember those baby steps. We already said at the gym, plan ahead, all right, so again, don't restrict, plan your meals ahead accordingly. Water, stay hydrated, fun, just repeat. Reassess and learn from it, like you mentioned, why are we doing this? So we figured out why we're doing it, reassess it, learn from it, don't ignore it. If you ignore it, it's common that it's going to happen again and again and again for years and years for the rest of your life. If you can really take a step back and evaluate it, you're gonna evolve from it. You'll be able to evolve from
Control
it. And control it, exactly. Get rid of trigger foods. If you battle with trigger foods, get them out of the house. Send them home with your friends, family members, whoever, get them out. And hold yourself accountable. Come into your meetings, especially through the holidays. If you had a bad day, don't email us and be like, yo, I had a bad day, I don't wanna come in. Get in, that's actually the most important time to come in. Gets you back into the environment. We can kind of face those struggles that you had together and make sure it doesn't repeat itself again. You're not gonna come in here and have your nutritionist yell at you. Lauren, you would never yell at anybody.
I don't know, I hear a lot of yelling and whipping from her office.
Chains and whips.
Yeah.
That's what's going on.
Come in, face it, and talk about it with your nutritionist because it's something that you can face and recover from and not have to face again and again and again.
Yeah, and on the more positive side of that, which is weird coming from me, the weight's gonna be funny that day most likely, but the scan probably won't be. So a lot of times, scan after you think you were bad, you'll probably feel a lot better because you're like, oh, I feel like this mess and whatever, but you're hopping and go, oh, it's fine. I see a little bit of distension, maybe a little blow, but I'm the same otherwise.
Yeah.
So it helps to kind of snap you back into reality, other than using the only metric of the scale, which is just make you unhappy.
Yeah, and we're able to see, again, of that weight, the lean mass going up. And remember, lean mass isn't just muscle, it's food and all the other stuff too. So if we see that going up, we're like, it helps break everything down and explain things a lot better.
There was a lot of times that I would go into Kristen.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, I really don't want to do the scan.
Yeah.
I just do it. And then I'd be like, listen, I'm probably like 10 pounds. Like, I'm going to look like an elephant. And she'll show me. She's like, no, actually, you're like smaller here. And I'm like, wait, what?
Yes.
Yeah, I feel fantastic.
Yes.
I'm like, all right, see ya.
That's a perfect example of that. So you gotta remember, you're not gonna put on a pound of fat after a bad day. You're just not. And a pound of fat is about this big, right? So if you're going up in food, water, from salt or whatever, you're not gonna see this volume get added to your body anywhere. You know what I'm
and
saying?
usually, all the nutritionists and anyone who works with me, we're usually pretty good at spotting the differences between what's just distension and bloat versus what is fat.
Yeah.
And so if you're not sure, just add them. You usually go, oh, that just looks like some poop that hasn't come out yet.
Yeah.
That's not that.
Straight up. Straight up.
It's not straight.
100%.
I'm out of it, bro.
Yeah.
I'm like, Randy.
Well, it's every week.
Bro,
And the
shut
lean-
up,
the-
Congratulations on your
And
success.
the better
We're
it
back.
goes, the leaner she gets, the more abs she gets, the less lean she feels. That's all you get. That's prep. That's kind of this prep life. The leaner you are, the less lean you feel.
Vicious cycle.
Yeah, gotta love it.
All right, so this brings us
Well, the other one's small.
to New Year. All right, so a lot of people, because you guys better make sure your appointments are on the schedule now, because come January 1st, you're gonna lose your spot if you're not in. We're gonna get everybody coming in from the New Year's resolutions. You know, the gyms are gonna be swamped and so forth. Now,
Wait for February.
so there's
Wait for February.
so there's two sides of New Year's, two perspectives I have. So one, just keep in mind, according to the U.S. News and World Report, 80% of New Year's resolutions fail by February.
And it's
Yeah,
funny,
again.
I know that's the stat she put in, but I think there was another.
It's more.
There's a further stat that I think of 60 to 65% of that 80 is done in the first week or two.
Yes.
Wow.
So keep that in mind. It's usually because the goals that they are creating are so ridiculous, and we're going to go further into that. You don't want to become that 80%. But there is the 20% that are successful, and they did use the new year to kickstart a new lifestyle or a new goal, and they did make it. And the reason why they made it is because they had realistic expectations. They weren't too hard on themselves. They didn't critique
Yes.
and punish themselves. So, you want to just keep in mind, these people, they set the goal, they faltered, they failed, they forgot about it, they repeated it again in 12 months. You don't want to keep falling into that cycle, which a couple of you in here probably have, whether that had to do with weight loss, weight gain, or a completely different goal that you had in mind.
Yeah, and as well with that, and this is just my own personal opinion, everybody's a little different on this. It's wonderful to write your goals down for yourself, make them real, put them out there for the reality, the whole universe business. But that doesn't mean they need to be on Facebook or social media. Sometimes when you put out that very specific goal on Facebook, I'm gonna lose 20 pounds by January 30th. What's gonna happen is all your support system's gonna try to check in on you, ask you, and trying to be helpful, how's that going? And then when you're only down 10 pounds this month, you're gonna feel like crap.
Failure. Yeah, failure.
So no matter, just keep it on your bathroom mirror, keep it on your wall, keep it on your phone, or maybe have a certain support system you could trust. But social media can be the enemy of that.
Yes.
Can I just say one more thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. No, I love
No.
it. I love
I was
it.
just telling Dawn today, because one of my best friends just joined my gym with me, and she posted a status. Oh, I can't wait to go to the gym, blah, blah, blah. She's like, oh, check my status. I was like, oh, cute. I said, don't post me in a status like that again. And I said, I'm not being mean, but I don't want people to know. I said, the next 6 months, nobody talk to me. Like, if you ask me, it's fine, but I'm not gonna be like, hey, I'm at the gym. Hey,
Yeah.
I had some lettuce today. I'm not doing that.
Right.
I can't deal with
That's
that.
not, yeah, and
She's
that's,
like,
yeah,
yeah, that's a good idea. 'Cause, like,
and yes, and everybody's
Yeah.
different, yeah.
Part two, the thing when you guys post, it motivates you, it keeps you accountable to
It
yourself.
keeps me accountable. Like
So-
I feel like people are watching me.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
watching me.
I
Not
am
only do I
Friday.
not let myself
I mean,
down.
yeah.
What?
I said I am.
Yeah, but it feels like I don't want to let them down. But I don't want to let myself down. But I feel like by doing that, I
Like my goal.
Yeah.
The 3 shows that I have
Yeah.
to do. It's out there. It's in the universe. I
Yeah.
can't back out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
well,
it works
and now
out.
that's a good description. If you're putting a goal out there of, I'm doing this on this date, I'm going to be running
Kind of
this
like an
race.
accountability.
For me, it's
Awesome.
so
Yeah.
Try to focus on goals more like that, where it's a this, a that, or I'm going to feel my best.
Yeah.
Get away from those metric goals of X amount of weight, X amount of this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
and
know.
this can change. So like even to me, so if you don't know already, I'm a professional figure competitor. So every year that I competed was different. A couple of the years I posted everything. It was my accountability. One of the years I didn't post a single thing, and next thing you knew, I was on stage and everybody was like, "What the frick? You didn't tell me you were prepping." And I was like, "I did an entire prep and nobody knew that I was prepping for anything." The next year I posted nonstop again. That was the year that I went pro, and it was accountability. It was.
Give me a check.
Yeah, it kept me in check. And then, you know, the next year I did that, and I actually ended up feeling I was putting too much pressure on myself. I'm like, all these people are staring at me, and like I don't want to let them down, this and that. So my perspective on that changed from year to year to year too, and that's okay. You
But
know?
also the fact of joining here is another way of being accountable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to, but you have to come in.
Right.
You have to go to the truth booth and get
Yeah.
scared.
Sign up. You should put that in your
What reality is, but
Everybody
it
looks at
is
those shit.
a reality check and it is accountability and you need that hand holding, especially in the beginning. If
Yes.
you've been doing the yo-yo, I call it the yo-yo, just ring around the rosy, you need to break that cycle. And for me, I just know accountability works.
Yeah, and
For some people it doesn't, but I just know.
If there's the one most important thing I look across the board of member success for prep, regular, everybody,
Everything.
it's going to the appointments, whether it's a phone call, but the more accountability, the success rate is so much better. When people are, you miss 2 weeks, you're here once a month, as silly as it is, it just doesn't roll right.
Right.
And then, like, if you join in the beginning, they'll say to you, "Oh, at the end of the night, send me your numbers.
Yeah.
Let me see how you do it."
Yes.
Now, they're not gonna baby you and text you and say, "I didn't get your numbers tonight."
Right.
But
That's
if you
your
send it to them
responsibility.
every night, because you wanna be accountable and you know that somebody's got eyes on you, they'll receive it, they'll look at it,
Yep. And that's always
and he'll respond. But if you don't, they're like, "Well, you know what, it's like, it's like going to college. You wanna pay for school and you wanna show up, great. If you don't, show us." Like,
Great analogy.
Well, I always kid around, and this will probably come out the wrong way because I'm me, but I would say everybody gets 100%, but if you give me 110, you get 150.
Right, right.
Yeah, 100%. I go 100%.
But the thing I used to do, I used to give everybody 100%.
Percentages coming out.
And what happened, I was killing myself on the people who just, it wasn't for them at the time. And people who really needed me weren't getting all the time they
Yeah.
needed.
Yep, so that was actually a really big deal when that happened. So reasons why goals fail. Your goals aren't clear. You don't know where your goals came from. You don't know why are they even important to you, and how would achieving these goals influence your life?
Yeah, so that's, that's
Yeah, it's good.
a great one.
Thank you.
That's a good one,
I
too.
wrote that.
Good job. Goal setting is so important because it sets the whole narrative for you. Like I said, why am I doing this goal? The goal might be, I want to lose 10% body fat. You go, great, but why? And the reason's important. I want to feel better, I'm unhealthy, my back hurts. Cool, got 3 real reasons. But if the reason is, I don't know, it's New Year's, that resolution's probably not going to stick great. So sometimes you have to either find deeper whys.
Oh, Christmas movie.
Find deeper.
Where's Walt's on?
Okay, then you gotta talk.
No, I can't talk and do it at the same time.
Well, no, I'm gonna talk.
What were we talking about?
Setting goals.
Setting goals.
Yeah, Randy, you were really on a roll with that
Get a
one.
calendar
I don't want to
goal
steal
on.
your thunder on that one.
Thanks, Michelle.
Now,
Because that was super important.
No, it's good, that's good.
It's even smaller.
And darker.
There
All right.
goals.
Right, like where were we?
I was on a roll. So setting them correctly is important. Defining what you want. Just like when you're looking to go meet with someone for a new service, you're looking for information. I always say ask. They'll say it's 5 whys, but just ask a few more whys than just that first one, and you usually get to a real answer. Like, for example, why are you looking to lose weight? I want to get healthier. Yeah, but why? And then I want to play my grandkids. Why? Usually, once you get 2 to 3 whys, you'll get a real reason or not. And if you don't have a real reason after 2 or 3 whys, maybe reassess the goal. Or talk to someone who you trust, whether it's your nutritionist, spouse, kids. It's crazy how many different people you can have that motivate you in weird ways and help you redefine your goals. But just set a goal that aligns with what you want, not with what you think you're supposed to do. Okay, what are you doing?
I'm trying to get it back up. So I'm going to talk and hold this at the same time.
You're doing great.
It disappeared, I didn't do it.
You talk, I'll fix, because
Okay.
otherwise we get broken.
Fixing the font.
So, other reasons why people will just stop, they feel discouraged, they don't enjoy the process, so that's a big thing. If people are doing a method and they're not enjoying the process, then like forget about the destination. They're not setting realistic goals, they're burning themselves out. These are common things that you're gonna see again for New Year's resolutions. Accessing Netflix.
Somebody was watching movies at work.
Oh yeah, I love the girls watching The Office at the office. Feeling overwhelmed, perhaps too much pressure or too many, just too many obstacles, too many responsibilities. No support system, and this is an important one. I want to make sure that you guys all have a support system. So yes, you have us here no matter what. Like you can reach out to us any freaking time. We got you. But at home, you want to make sure that your friends, your coworkers, your family support you too. And honestly, if you have that already, you're one of the lucky ones, because not everybody has that. Some people, their own significant other is just not supportive, and that's very hard. So make sure you're surrounding yourself with people who support you and will be here for you if you need them.
Yeah, and sometimes that takes, if you don't, if you have people around you that maybe don't get it, but also on the flip side, if you ever truly explained it deeply to them. Sometimes just explaining yourself and how important it is to you, they may not even realize they're being offensive or making things tough for you. Sometimes just have that real conversation with them, and they're like, oh, they didn't realize, great. And then other times, people are just assholes.
Yes.
But,
Yes, they are.
at least give them a shot to have the real conversation, put it very clearly what you need and what you want, and hope that the expectations are met.
Right, and then again, that's another reason why we have these seminars, is to give you more of that support system. So not only do you have me and Randy, me and Randy used to meet with every single person when we first opened Rev. Obviously, we can't do that anymore. So we want to give you guys a chance to meet with us, talk with us, ask us questions, but also for you guys to meet each other. You guys were all strangers before you stepped into this room or met each other via social media with Rev. You guys have each other now. I mean, Ro, Nicole, how many friends have you made from Rev,
A lot.
A lot, and that's your support system.
Take 'em
So,
all.
so Ro's a good one. So
I take
that's
'em all.
another reason why we have that. Another reason is that you're not ready to change. Maybe you're feeling forced to change and you're just not ready, and that's okay too. Extremely high motivation on day one and going to extremes, and that motivation doesn't last. So we want to talk about making that motivation last forever. Not technically maybe motivation, but that longevity, that energy.
So what I like to do in motivation is I like to say, when you're motivated, put that towards something that can help you long term, not just a short term win. So when you're motivated, put it towards big time planning, big time prepping, organizing things, getting your schedule perfect. Stuff that's gonna help you when the motivation leaves. Just getting that 1 killer workout while you're motivated, that's awesome, and I'm happy you did it, but it's not gonna help you once it's done. So when you have motivation, if maybe the issues are prepping food, consistency, getting things logged into your phone, use it for the boring stuff you don't normally want to do. Usually a workout is things most people view as positive. Most people. Do the things you don't want to do when you have motivation.
Exactly. And not having sustainable journeys, or it's not being sustainable. People go to extremes, and I'm sure everybody in here is going to hear it. Even though you do flexible nutrition here, you're going to hear your friends saying, I'm doing this fad diet, or I'm cutting out all my carbs, or I'm cutting out all my fats. And it's not keto. It's not sustainable.
Oh, yeah.
It's not sustainable. It's not realistic. Where here you can have all your food groups, you can have all your macronutrients just in the right amounts for your body. So trust me, you're probably gonna have people talking your ear off like, I'm doing this and I'm doing this, and you're just gonna roll your eyes and be like, hey, whatever.
Yeah, and even more so, the influencers. If it's a sponsored ad, maybe just don't listen to it. Or if it overlooks that interesting, click on it and really look through it. And if it brings you to one of those landing sites that says click now for a free, maybe don't go to it. So,
Or ask us about it.
Look at it. That's the big thing I'm always happy with too, because people think I'm just bashing other stuff because they're not rad. Like, well, that's not the case. If you find something that sounds interesting, a supplement that seems cool, shoot it over to me. I go, at the very worst, I'll learn something new, and at the best, I can save you some money or put you in a better direction.
Yeah, Randy's the first to say if that there was a better method, we would do it.
Yeah, I always care. My only
best.
goal is get everybody to the best place possible. So if I learn tomorrow there's a better way, that's the way I'd be doing it.
All right.
But we've been just doing this since day one, so.
It's working.
It's working.
So common New Year's resolutions mistakes, focusing solely on the scale, which we spoke about before, it'll drive you absolutely insane. Eating too many or too few calories, so severe restriction, or we do work with people who do weight gain also, and they just go to these polar, like opposites, extremes. Extreme exercise, you're gonna burn yourself out. Everybody's super motivated that first week, all these gym memberships and whatnot, they're going full throttle, they don't make it to week number 2.
Yeah, and especially too, if you haven't been working out regularly, or this is the first time period that you're ever working out, don't go nuts. Don't think about going in there and having to look a certain way, do a certain thing. Do what you can, learn the form. One of the best things about when you start working out is you're gonna have basically the same results as someone killing themselves and doing it for years, not just doing something because your body's so new to it. So take the time, learn the exercises, you know, ask a trainer, ask a person there, hey, how do I use that? Use YouTube. Make use of your time. Don't go in there and feel I have to be Mr. or Mrs. Intensity on day one and impress everybody in the gym. A, no one can pay attention to you there. They just want you to get off the machine as quick as possible anyway right now. So worry about you, learn the basics so that once the rush is over, you have all the tools.
Yeah, I had to talk somebody out of, they wanted to go to the gym 2 to 3 times a day, and I was like, absolutely not, do not do that. Yeah, they're like, oh, this new year I'm gonna go 2 to 3 times a day. I'm like, that's no, yeah, it's big.
Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah,
And you know what?
Yes.
Everybody, when they wanna get in shape and the new year's coming, all they talk about is getting a gym membership and going to the gym.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, great, so when that doesn't work out, where's your nutrition? Like, nobody ever puts
80%.
the 2 together, and that drives me, my sister.
Yeah.
You know, oh, well, I went to the gym, and or she'll start a diet, and it worked for me. I'm like, yeah, but you're in the same position, like.
Yeah. The nutrition's so important, and that's why me and Randy actually started RevolutioniZe to begin with. We used to be personal trainers for years in the industry. And yeah, I mean, the gym was crazy here, and our clients, they get faster and more agile and stronger, but they weren't leaning out. And they, every day, I'm trying, at that time, it was paleo, this, that. And I'm like, trying to give them advice, and I'm like, God, they're not gonna listen to me. They're gonna jump into like the first thing they read in like Cosmo magazine or Women's Health magazine. And they make it a week and they look no different. And there's more to it than that. And that's really what sparked me and Randy to open up a nutrition company. Yeah, and that's when everybody started leaning out and dropping body fat like crazy.
You know, working out is super important. But when it comes to aesthetics, even my bodybuilders, there's some of my athletes who have done the same workouts their whole life, but as soon as they changed their diet, they went from looking one way to looking another way. The exercises, just do them. Yeah. As long as they're done correctly, they're not going to hurt you. It's almost hard to exercise bad. So do something, make sure you're not getting hurt, and if it's enjoyable to you, great. I always like to bust balls about whether this style's the best, that one's none of the best. They're all different tools in your toolbox, and whichever one you're going to do the most and do the most consistently, that's the best one for you. So if someone goes, well, don't do Zumba because you're not going to be doing weight training. No, you're right. Is Zumba going to burn a lot less calories and build a lot less muscle than efficient weight training? Absolutely. But if you're never going to do weight training, go do Zumba. And maybe you'll get into something else there.
Yeah.
Just do everything healthy, make sure you have a good instructor.
Yeah, and I use myself as an example. You know, whenever I prep for shows, all of a sudden people are like, oh, you're training again? And I'm like, dude, my training never ends. My training is year round, but my diet changes. And then all of a sudden people are like, oh. I'm like, it's not rocket science. But they all think it's the gym and just the gym. They don't realize how important the food is. So, no, yeah.
So I just on that point, there's also no magic exercise in the gym. The people you want to ask, if there are people to ask in the gym, is the guy or girl who's in the corner with their sweatshirt over their head, not talking, who's been there every day. Don't ask the guy with just the six-pack. Yeah, don't ask the guy with the six-pack posing in the mirror because he looks good, or the girl with her butt doing the kicks. Great. Look for the boring person who's not posting on Instagram the whole time. They probably have a better way to put it. Or maybe I'm wrong. I'm judging the book by title.
The importance of resting and recovering. So the more full throttle you go, you're not giving yourself time to rest and recover. When you're in the gym, you're literally breaking your body down. You're literally tearing apart your muscle fibers. You need to eat correctly, and you need to sleep and rest and recover. Take those days off in the gym too. They are just as important as the days in the gym.
Yeah, and in terms of how you should feel when you're just doing strength training, strength training shouldn't leave you, unless you're doing it at legs or back, one of these big muscle groups, shouldn't feel you leaving exhausted like cardio. The muscles you're doing should feel beat the hell up. But that's it. So a lot of times people go, well, my whole body's not dead, I'm done training. I'm gonna do 700 exercises. No. More isn't better with exercise. Just the way you feel is the point of it. It's a really rough advice here, but usually every big muscle, I'd say, if you get 16 to 20 sets per muscle group, you're in a good spot. So usually it ends up being 4 to 5 exercises, 3 to 4 sets, you're good. If you do that and you're like, I'm doing more, there's probably an issue with weight or intensity. I remember a few years ago, I took 2 of my bodybuilders who were fantastic shape, you know, I'm like, all right guys, let me show you. I had them do 4 exercises, they were puking. We didn't go fast, we didn't go hard. I mean, we went hard, but we didn't go fast, we get in big rates. But it's just, that's how you lift. So I'm not saying you need to puke, but I'm saying more isn't better, better is better.
No, like when people will create like a program designed for somebody to follow in the gym, they're like, there's only 4 exercises. I'm like, just do it the way it's supposed to be done. And they text me and they're like, oh my God, I've never done so less amount of exercises and wanted to die.
But also, but remember, when I'm saying legs isn't one muscle. It's really, you know, we're talking quads, hands, glutes. So that's why those workouts might be quite a bit longer. Calves, so yeah, sorry.
Do not cut out a macronutrient completely. As you know here, we do not do that. All right, you have the correct amount for your body and for your goals. People overestimate the amount of calories that they burn while exercising. They have like the heart rate monitors and stuff. They are not accurate.
Yeah. When it comes to those, don't use those as a gospel. Use those to measure your intensity. If you want to measure it against yourself, and go, oh, last time I burned 400, today I burned 500, and cool, measure it in that sense. Try to keep those calories just as a form of intensity, even though it's obviously not what they are.
Because you're not using them anyway.
Yeah, and they just
You don't use them towards your macros anyway, so.
yeah, that's not how we do
Don't even
things.
track it
Yeah, and you're never going to get it just right anyway. So focus on how it feels in intensity when it comes to those calorie trackers, but not in terms of calories burned.
Yes.
Unless you are starting a new routine and you find I'm losing a lot of weight fast. Then we'll address to see how many calories you're burning, or vice versa. You're like, I'm doing a ton of cardio, but nothing's happening. Then it's an intensity issue.
Yes. People have unrealistic expectations. They want to lose like 40 pounds in a month. It's not going to happen. Okay, that's bottom line.
Yeah, and I always say that, you know, the old standard is, I joke and say it's 0 pounds to 3 pounds a week you may lose. And I say 0 because there's going to be weeks you lose 4 to 5, there's going to be weeks you lose 0, but it always averages out to about half to 2 pounds a week or 2 of fat if you're doing good. So it may take a little longer, but you're actually going to get there. I always say if you lose 5 pounds of fat in a month, actual fat, it's going to look way better than 10 pounds of water.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if the goal is to look better, worry about losing the fat and feel better and everything.
Guesstimating for every meal. So if you're guesstimating your macros for every single meal, eating intuitively for every meal throughout the week, probably not.
And
the best
especially if
idea.
your progress isn't going well with it.
Yeah.
I go, if you're intuitive,
If you're maintaining,
and
it's
things are
a
going
different
fine,
story.
yeah, man, intuitive works for you, you know what you're doing, you know the macros in your head. But if you're doing intuitive eating and your weight is blah, maybe it's time to start tightening up tracking wise.
Yeah, which by the way, maintenance is another goal. So if anybody in here gets to their goal, talk to us. We'll teach you guys how to maintain that.
And that's a whole other animal.
It's a whole other animal. I mean,
That's what
this
we've been doing for how many years?
how many years?
Yeah.
Yeah, but this country is so fixated on how to lose weight. Oh, I'm gonna eat a bunch of food. I gain weight. I'm losing weight. Nobody has mastered the
Yeah,
maintenance.
and it's funny, maintenance at the same time is
Right?
harder, and at the same time it's much easier.
Yeah.
It's just consistency, that's all it is.
But you've been practicing it for a long time, right? You
Yeah.
haven't been stuck in this
Yeah, I
cycle.
know.
You hit your goal and you've been maintaining.
Yeah, I forgot who I was telling one of my clients, who's a great shape working for years. She's like, I had a bad week, and I go, I gotta talk to you. What did your bad week mean? And I go, her bad week was she only worked out 2 times, and I had a day where she didn't track. And I go, that's not a bad week.
Yeah.
But for, you know, so that's what when you have the lifestyle, when you're off, you're not really off. Is it hard to get there? Absolutely. But it can be done.
Yes. People not eating whole foods. You get these people that like just want to go like on a shake diet. I'm not gonna name drop any companies, but you need to eat food also.
And like I said, there's nothing wrong with those shakes. If you like the taste of that shake, cool, put it in your diet.
Mhm.
But don't be using them as everything, and it's also most likely going to leave you hungrier, so it's going to be digested a lot quicker. So again, if you're having issues getting calories in, shakes are the best for you. But if you're having trouble staying under your macros, maybe not shakes.
Yeah, and feeling full. You're gonna feel full eating whole foods. And another mistake or something that happens common is people don't know how to cope with their failures or their stress or their obstacles. I don't like to use the word failures. I like to think of them more as learning experiences. But if you have a day that you fudged up, you need to learn how to cope and move on from it and not let it, you say, screw it, I'm done, I can't do this anymore, and you throw the towel in.
Yeah, and it's cheesy and lame, but whatever. But you're going to fail 100 times before you get it. And you're not going to get it without the failing.
The most successful people that you know in any aspect of life has failed more times than you can possibly imagine. They failed more times than anybody who hasn't even tried.
The only thing I consider failure is when you don't learn anything from it. If next week we did the same freaking mistake and you come and super upset about it, go, I don't know what happened, and then we talk about it, like, oh yeah, the thing we talked about that I told you I was never gonna do that there.
And if you fuck something up and that happens and you forget, write it down. Write it down, put it in your face and be like, all right, I messed that up, I'm not gonna do that again.
But if you do
Remind
it, but
yourself,
if it
it's
happens
okay.
again and you're like, I didn't get, but you're like, okay, at least you'll call it the time you know it. Maybe each time it won't happen, but being aware helps a lot.
Yeah, self-awareness and calling yourself out is actually the best thing. And we appreciate it.
And
too.
failure is part of the
Nutritionists.
game, especially if you're early in the program, and anybody who's been with us more than a couple months can tell you this. You can feel like you failed your whole way through the first month, your scan probably going to still be great.
Yeah.
As long as you tried and gave it 60, 70%, it's probably going to be really good.
Yep.
So don't get beat up that it wasn't 100, because you're going to be fine.
Yeah. This is super
Small
tiny.
font again.
Small font. This is really for me, so I'm just gonna kind of like look in
I
here.
think it's time to get 100 on TV.
Well, I want to do with a projector, like a big ass projector. Another story for another time. So the steps to success: you develop that desire. What do you really want, and how much do you actually want it, and how much are you willing to do what it takes to get to that ultimate goal? You have to develop that belief in yourself and believe that you can actually accomplish this. If there is doubt in there, you're gonna have a pretty rough
Yeah.
time.
And there's also nothing wrong with reassessing and changing goals.
Yeah.
You may say on day one, I want to go to the Olympics. Like, well, that's cool, man, great. But on week 3, you're like, I hate the Olympics.
Yeah.
Okay. Doesn't mean you have to just
Disney
reassess.
World.
Yeah.
So about 3 months ago, we had a group of people come to us, and they all wanted to do contest prep. And I said, before you do contest prep, you first have to learn how to do the nutrition here. You have to learn the process and see if it's realistic for you. And they were gung-ho, I'm competing 2020, I'm doing this, yeah. So I was like, all right, you're gonna start with general nutrition. They started their nutritionist, they made it through the 3 months, and they're like, I'm not gonna compete. And I'm like, that's okay. No one's upset about it. You did what you did, you got to a certain goal, and they were super happy about it, but they didn't wanna step on stage. That's cool, there's nothing wrong with changing your goals at all.
Yeah, and that's it too. And there's nothing wrong if you set a little goal and then you're like, oh, you know what, let me reach a little higher. So we can go both ways too. I always like the idea of setting one long-term goal, you know, one year long goal, a 6-month, and 3-month, and 1 month. It just gives you something to look at each time, and it can also reassess and give you a thing. Just like when a big company puts out their quarterly projections, they're gonna be freaking wrong and awful, but it gives you something to stay accountable to. So every month, when you reassess those goals, you can, all right, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? Let's reassess. It's like a little business meeting with yourself.
Yeah, and when you meet those little goals that you actually set, it makes you even more confident in
It
what
does.
you're doing.
It builds
It
confidence.
reinforces you to just keep going.
Yep.
It's very motivational.
Yeah.
And actually celebrate those moments. So
Yeah.
if you hit a goal, take a moment and celebrate it. Like whether it's, I don't know, going to
Easter
date
break
day
is
or
coming and you
whatever
might
it
wear a
is.
bathing suit.
Yeah,
you know,
like be
whatever
proud
it
of those
is.
accomplishments. You're allowed to give yourself a pat on the back. It's cool. Write your plan. Write your plan down clearly in detail. You write down, look at it, visualize it. We have people that create vision boards. We have people that like to post online. We have people that put it on the front screen of their phone. Whatever you like, make it visual.
All I think when you say that is the old Simpsons episode where Homer's wondering why he's going to work every day and you have the board there. When he first started work, he said, don't forget you're never leaving here. But after his years and years, he has all the pictures of kids up there and it just blocks it out and goes, do it for her. So you kind of got to reassess what you're doing.
Oh, no, actually. Make a list of the ways you'll benefit from the goal. You have your what your goal is. Now you need to have your why. Why do you want this? Which is what we were touching on earlier before. Analyze your position. Where are you now? Be honest with yourself. And where are you going? Take a progress picture. If it's another goal you have, write it down. Be realistic. Where am I now? Where am I going?
And that's something too when it comes to worrying about where you are compared to other people in your journey or how long it takes to get to a certain point. I go, I don't. But if I said that, everybody followed me. That would be amazing. It's not going to happen. I don't do it. But I always think of it like a baseball field. Someone else might be at third base and you might not even be at bat yet. So by the time they made it to home and you got the first, you guys did the same amount of stuff. It just doesn't look like it. Like I always kid around and go, I'm a little bit overweight right now. If I lost 10 pounds right now, nobody would probably notice it. I lost 20, 30, it starts to be noticeable. But if someone like Michelle lost 10 pounds, she'd look almost concentrated. So people are going to give her every compliment in the world, but nobody may notice. Doesn't get better or worse, but it's just, I got the first base, nobody cares. She got the home base, scored the run, that looks great. So it's just, understand what you're doing.
Make a list of obstacles. So if you know what your obstacles are, if you've experienced these obstacles before, write them down, look at them, and figure out how am I going to get through these when they do show up, because they're going to show up.
Yeah, and the best thing you can do with that is bring the obstacles up to your nutritionist. They can really help you with it. And sometimes it can be a little challenge for yourself that you're like, okay, you know what, this is the thing I said I wasn't going to let get to me. and you might let it get to you, but you might also see it as a challenge you can bust through.
Yeah,
At least you're aware.
it could be obstacles from, emotional eating. It could be what happens when I get an emergency phone call for my kid and I have to go rush with my kid, or go to a soccer game, or it could be anything at all. Identify all your information, have information ready, have resources ready. Make a list of people who will support you, need, husband, wife, family, friends, coworkers. Know those people that you will have there to support you and have your back.
And in terms of, too, if there's certain things, if there's a certain song, always puts you up, or there's a certain YouTube video you'll watch, it always puts you up, or there's an article someone wrote, keep those things saved and close by, because as stupid as it sounds, when you're in a mood, could be a lot healthier for you to listen to something motivating than let yourself get deeper into the funk.
Yep, and make your plan. So make a list of activities and responsibilities, organize them by time and priority, make your plan, write it out. Again, that's something we know about. Randy, this is what you were talking about before, using your short-term motivation
Yep,
for
so-
long-term success.
So yeah, I said a little bit, but yeah, like I said, everyone looks at whether it's a challenge or New Year's and goes, you're destined to fail, haha, you crazy noobs, the gym. It's whatever, great. But that's the stupid way to look at it, but take that motivation, like, you know what, I do have this motivation, it is here. It's not gonna be here forever, so let's try and put it towards something positive instead of being like, well, I don't wanna be the person who's all motivated, because motivation doesn't last. It doesn't last, but use it while you have it, use it for something tangible and long-term, it'll be all right. The good way to compare it to is like a short-term windfall with money. Like, let's say we did a scratches today and got $1,000, great. I can go buy a TV, or I can go pay a credit card bill. Pay the credit card bill. I won't, but everybody else should pay the credit card bill.
So use the motivation to inspire you. Create achievable tasks, acknowledge each task's accomplishment, celebrate those accomplishments. It's a marathon. It is not a sprint. It is slow and steady. And of course, we can blame mainstream media for advertising these extreme quick fixes that we're seeing, and it's a pain in our ass, and it's something that me and Randy have to fight every day, because that is our culture, that is America. It's quick fix everywhere you look. Everything that we're able to do is accessible at the touch of our fingertips on our phone. Fat loss or body transformation is not one of those things. It does take time, so you have to be realistic with yourself.
Yeah, I say that, and you'll hear me say this all the time. I go, it takes a little bit longer than you think to get where you want, but it's a lot easier than you think. So kind of flip that mentality. It's going to be really hard, but not for that long. It's going to be not that hard, but for a little longer than you thought. And that's a better way to think about it.
Yes. I think that might be. Randy, you can read that one. Can you read that one?
Alex Poetry.
Yeah, there's going to be struggles, there's going to be moments of failure. Consider those learning experiences and not a reason to deviate from your plan. The most successful people have failed numerous times, but they were persistent and they kept pushing forward. And that's the truth, again, for any asset, whether it's fitness, business owner, or anything. You will fail, but the persistence and being able to get past those failures is what's going to help you be successful. And have a happy, healthy New Year, and we're gonna smash some goals together. Yeah. So, that's it. So, any questions from you guys? Anything that has come up that you want to talk about?
Even if it doesn't pertain to what we talked about.
Well, we're gonna hang out for a little bit, so I need to do raffles first. We have raffles. Hold on. Hang tight, guys. Talk amongst yourselves.
I was happy with it. Today, I'm like, no, I'm like, she's just awesome.
Yeah, tell them how much of a bust my
That's what
ass.
I'm, yeah,
I love when people assume that.
I was so, not that happy about it, but I was like, it's the best when you hear that when you're not.
No, I did.
But it stinks
But
when
then you wonder if they're actually giving you the credit.
Well, they're trying to, you always,
They're trying to figure out what the shortcut is.
yeah, it's like, oh, the shortcut.
I mean, I actually did a little crumble pieces this time. Yeah, I usually do that.
And I know, and I-
That's just the easiest way.
It is the
And I'm like,
easiest way.
I don't know which one I need those pinpoint features that look like she would be.
No.
Okay, I think I had too many numbers in this, but we're just gonna roll with it and see who wins. Okay, which one should I do first? Randy?
What do we got there?
We have Fruitables, Eat Clean Bro, and I'm saving the Rev membership for the last one.
Let's start with you, clean bro.
Alright, Eat Clean Bro gift card. I think it's $50 gift card.
Yep.
Who's the winner gonna be?
Okay, give that G's, Alan.
Who's it gonna be? Let's see.
As he needs to eat 500
Pressure's
carbs,
on.
he's filling up on
I know,
veggies.
she's killing me. I eat pizza twice a week.
Jen! Here you go.
Sunday week in a row for Jenny.
Oh my God, you got the luck going on.
She's wearing the cream, that's why.
So the next one is And I honestly don't know what is in there. Lisa! Hey! There you go. I don't know what's in it, so I hope it's good.
It's probably not a Fruita Bowl.
Probably not. And now this one is for our 3 months of membership with RevolutioniZe. So let's see who it's gonna be. And if it's one of our sponsored athletes,
You can give to
No,
somebody
then
else.
I will give it to a brand new person.
Yeah.
I will re-gift to a brand new person.
oh, Rita Riley!
Perfect timing.
I don't have anything to give you but a high five, and I'll put it in the system.
See, it's meant to be.
You needed that. Aren't you glad you came? I forced you to
So that's really funny. I wish I could, like, it feels like it's planned and she's a plant or something, but she actually, when she texted Michelle earlier and said, no, I'm losing my motivation, I need to come in tonight. It's not really funny how that worked out.
Now you're forced.
Every now and then.
So, yes, so we're going to hang out. So thank you, everybody, for coming out. Next month.
Yes, we'll be, I don't know what the fancy name of it yet is, but we're going to be focusing on quick, easy to get meals and foods while you're out on the road. So I'm going to be breaking down common places of Wawa, 7-Eleven, McDonald's, a sub place, and I'll probably.
Are you gonna be personally going out there and testing these?
I will be. It's going to be very difficult. You want to be It's a big sacrifice.
February, we're tending to focus a lot on mental health awareness. We deal with a lot
Yeah, I
of
think
mental
so.
health here. So even though we're a nutrition company, a lot of the goals that people have are stemmed from something that is deep-seated, emotional. The girls have boxes of tissues in their offices because there's a lot of stuff going on. Anxiety, depression, you name it, is a part of it. So February, we're gonna be tying in nutrition and mental health and coping and all that stuff. So we will be having a guest speaker for that one. She is an amazing, amazing psychologist. She and we work with the police departments, the fire departments, PTSD, I mean, you name it.
Yeah, as well as the New Jersey Police Department getting involved. They're doing a program, I think it's called the Resiliency Program, where they're focusing on suicide and mental health issues with officers.
What is this, February?
So they may be.
My cousin coming for that one.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have a representative from the police coming in for us to help just, say their piece, so if anybody has someone out there who's struggling.
Yeah,
State trooper,
we
he's gonna be that
have
one.
a member here who we're very close with, and he lost his son recently, suicide. So we're gonna be working in conjunction with him as well.
Yeah, they have a charity.
Yeah, but what we're gonna do is, we just wanna make this available to everybody. It's gonna be a pretty big event, so please, when we post it, share it. It is open to anybody. You do not have to be a RevolutioniZe member to come to this. It will be here, and it's gonna be great, so.
It's actually a surprise, we're all getting sent to the asylum, whoever signs up.
You will. I knew you're going back down. But thank you, everybody, so much for coming. We're gonna hang out.
I had a to-go container, so if you can go lunch tomorrow, whatever.
To-go boxes for Eat Clean Bro, if you want any.
State trooper.
Yeah, and I trying to get back in the group of things.